Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I get to learn a little bit about somebody else's perspective on movies. And I have my friend here, Griff, who met in college and is on for his second time on the interview show. But Griff, thank you so much for coming on.
Shane, thank you very much for having me again.
Absolutely. And it's time to talk some movies and we'll get things started. So I like to call this the watch list questions. But Griff, what's a previously released film that you haven't seen before that you're most excited to check out?
Weird Val Yankovic story.
Oh, there you go. Have to find it over on Roku. Um, it's hilarious. It's definitely a crazy fun time. But why are you most excited about that one?
Because I've been a big fan of Weird Al Yankovic for the longest time, ever since 1996 when he released the Bad Hair Day album.
Hmm.
He's definitely been a musical hero of mine for a while. I had the opportunity to see him in concert three times, twice in Morristown and once in Scranton. And back in 2017, I think it was, maybe a little earlier, I did get to meet him at that Chiller convention they have in Parsippany twice a year. Very nice man.
That's really cool. I had Bad Hair Day on CD when I was a kid and definitely listened to that a lot. So I definitely can relate on that one. You'll have a lot of fun. It is a crazy movie. Now, Griff, what's a film that hasn't released yet, looking into the future that you're most excited about?
There's quite a lot of them, Shane. The Whale with Brendan Fraser,
Mhm.
Babylon with Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie, Marlowe, where Liam Neeson plays Philip Marlowe, and definitely Maxine.
Yes, that's going to be an exciting one, especially after X and Pearl came out. Would have been crazy if they crammed all them into the same year, but we'll have to find out when we wind up getting Maxine. Um, I feel pretty lucky. I get to go see Babylon this coming week at a press screening, so I'm pretty big expectations for a new Damien Chazelle film. So pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed La La Land. I had kind of low expectations for that because I'm not a big musical person. But then after I watched La La Land, I was pleasantly impressed by that. And I'm curious to see with Babylon because I heard that it's 3 hours and 8 minutes. I'm thinking, like, where's it gonna go? Like, how much is gonna, be in it?
Well, apparently a lot. So Damien Chazelle's going to be packing a lot in. So
Mhm.
we'll have to see that one. And then yeah, I actually get to see the whale in a couple of days on Monday. So I'm pretty excited about that as well. I'm all aboard the Brendan Fraser train, bringing him back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because I've been a fan of this for a while, going back to the first couple of Mummy
Mhm.
movies and Bedazzled. And actually, just recently, I watched Blast from the Past, which I've never
Yep.
seen before. And I thought that was a decent movie.
Yeah, that one's a lot of fun. I enjoy that. But Rick O'Connell, the mummy, just so much fun. So some fun, exciting picks there for you, Griff. Now,
Mhm.
I love asking this question because so many people hate remakes, but sometimes Hollywood has a great one up their sleeve. So, Griff, what's a film that you actually want to see remade?
That's actually a pretty tough choice, Shane. I can't really think of anything offhand, but I do like what John Huston once said about that type of thing, remakes. Why remake good movies? Why not, remake some of the bad movies?
Exactly. I'm definitely on board with that because it's like, I feel like it's the difference between like, why remake The Lion King?
Right.
Money. That's why we know why Disney did it, but like, why'd you have to redo that one? Take the ones that were flawed, or you can add something new to it. So I always enjoyed like I just watched a movie for my one podcast called The One with Jet Li in it that came out in 2001. didn't care for it much, but I'm sitting there like, this is a cool idea. This is actually something I want to see them remake and actually do this right. So it's like finding those kinds of films where it's just like, this was a really cool idea, didn't really work out for me. Those are the kinds of ones that we might want to actually get a remake.
I remember renting that movie from Blockbuster at the time, and I thought it was okay. I thought that it did have a lot of potential, but I agree, it could have been much, much better.
That is such a time capsule right there because it was funny watching the one because the whole entire soundtrack was like Disturbed and like Rage Against the Machine, and I'm just like, this is so 2001, and the fact that you rented it from a Blockbuster just caps that all off right there. So now, Griff, what's your fondest memory of going to the movies?
Probably the first time I saw the fourth Rambo movie, it was at Regal in North Brunswick, and it was during the end fight. Everybody cheered throughout, straight 15 minutes. It was amazing to hear.
Oh my God. I didn't see that one in a theater, but I imagine just the mayhem that happened at the end of that movie.
Oh,
And just
yeah,
like
yeah.
they went hard. They went real hard. That second that Rambo gets up on that gun turret and just starts blowing people away, just like, wow, this must have been something really crazy in a theater. Um,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then once the movie was over, the people I saw the movie with, they were saying, "Oh no, they're never going to do a fifth Rambo movie." Blah blah blah. Boy, were they wrong. I thought Rambo Last Blood was really good too, but I think of all the Rambo movies, the fourth one is definitely my favorite.
it's interesting because like it really ratcheted up the violence and stuff like that. It really felt like a modern like action movie in that way. And then it like obviously all the Rambo films had some kind of message in them. Some of
Mhm.
them haven't aged as well. Looking at you, Rambo 3. Uh,
Oh yeah.
but the fourth one was really interesting, putting a spotlight on uh Myanmar and all those atrocities that were going on. So I could appreciate what those films do in terms of trying to put a spotlight on certain issues like that. And obviously the fifth one taking on the concerns about like drug cartels and stuff like that. Um that one felt like a western. Um Out in Arizona and Mexico and stuff like that. Well, I'm hoping that it actually is Last Blood. Because like don't name it that if you're gonna make another one, but you never know. It's Hollywood. They might make a sixth one. You never know. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though, because I remember back when they were making the fourth one that originally the plot of the fifth one was going to be the plot of the fourth one, and then for whatever reason it changed. And then I heard a rumor that they were going to do some Rambo movie where he's out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of some tropical forest or wherever, and he fights some predator like a monster. But that idea was scrapped. I don't think Stallone was too on board with that idea.
well, what was interesting was I remember when they first started talking about a fifth one, and it's like it's going to be in the American Southwest. I'm like, are they really going to make a fifth one? And then they did. They actually made it. So I really hope that they don't like go Predator with the Rambo franchise. That'd be insane.
No, no,
Just
like I said, I don't think Stallone was on board with that idea, and I think if they do make Last Blood Part Two, let's say it's gonna go in a different direction, different
yeah,
location.
absolutely. Now, Griff, what's a film that really exceeded your expectations?
I'm gonna say Pan's Labyrinth because when I first watched that movie, it was in the Spanish class that I took at
Mhm.
Middlesex County College, and I had heard of Pan's Labyrinth before it got a lot of attention, and I was thinking, well, this is gonna be some corny fantasy movie. But then when I was watching it, when I saw that there was that dual story, one of the stories being that it took place after the Spanish Civil War, I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is great, and ever since then, it's been one of my favorite movies. Definitely one of my favorite foreign movies, and probably my favorite fantasy movie.
Yeah, I really hope people didn't go in like families going in expecting like this whimsical fantasy film, and then you see somebody get their face bashed in with a bottle, and then you're just like, oh, wait a minute, this is not what you thought this was. But yeah, Pan's Labyrinth's such a great film, and boy, does it have an edge to it. And Guillermo del Toro did something special with that. And it's just a magical experience and also something very raw and intense.
Absolutely.
And the Pale Man will haunt my dreams forever. So there you go.
Yeah.
Don't you dare steal his food, or he's going to eat you. So there you go. So now, Griff, I don't know if you're much of a reader. This one's always a hit or miss question, but do you have a particular written work that you would be really interested in seeing becoming a film?
I haven't read any novels recently. I can't think of any written work I'd want to see adapted into a film per se, but I've always name of Robert Smalls. He was a slave who commandeered this Confederate ship, and he was able to sail that Confederate ship over enemy lines into Union lines, and that ship became a Union ship, and that actually convinced President Lincoln that more African Americans should be fighting in the Civil War on the Union side.
One, I'm sure there's a book about it somewhere, and two, why hasn't Hollywood made that movie yet?
Yeah, I was always hoping that they would, make that movie. I've been hoping for that for at least 10 years, and that the Forrest Whitaker would star in it, or somebody like that. Somebody of his stature.
That just has Hollywood written all over it. Well, somebody needs to go talk to a studio head somewhere and be like, "What are you doing?" So, because still get movies like that all the time, so might as well. So that's a really interesting story, though. That would definitely make for an interesting film. Now, this is always I know people who love movie trailers and love sitting through the trailers at a movie. Even though I do think they give away too much nowadays, I also know some people who refuse to watch them. But Griff, what's your favorite movie trailer?
Probably Django Unchained, the very first trailer that came out. I I had known about Django Unchained for quite a while, so I was
Mhm.
really anticipating that particular trailer. When I saw Christoph Waltz's character, I immediately thought this guy's definitely going to make the movie, and um, I think I was correct in that assumption. And Christoph Waltz won the Oscar, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, he just needs to keep making movies with Quentin Tarantino. Keep racking up some Oscars for himself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see if he winds up being in Tarantino's 10th, whenever the hell that comes out. But I remember though that Django trailer coming out for the first time and just being like, "Oh, this is interesting." Because I think yes, that was my first Tarantino film in a theater. Was Django Unchained. I saw that with my brother. So I remember seeing those trailers and being pretty excited about it. Boy, was that an interesting experience sitting in a theater watching that. I'm like, I don't know if I should be laughing at this at certain parts of it, but it's a crazy trailer, crazy film, and just a wonderful thrill ride.
Absolutely. Definitely another trailer I liked the most was the first Batman trailer from 1989 when
Mm.
they released it. There was a lot of controversy around that, being that Michael Keaton was cast as Batman and the comic book fans didn't like it and so on. But then once that trailer came out, it exceeded everyone's expectations, and the film was an overnight blockbuster. And it's the film we all know and love today.
Absolutely. It's just like hearing that I'm Batman for
Yeah.
the first time and just like, oh, exciting. And of course, Jack Nicholson too doesn't hurt. So just throwing him in there too as the Joker. Um, Now I know I'm a huge fan of music, and I think it's really interesting how filmmakers are able to incorporate it into their films. But Griff, what's your favorite use of a song in a movie?
I don't know about a song per se, but there are a lot of great scores that I like, particularly the Magnificent Seven
Yeah.
score, the score from Patton, the score from To Kill a Mockingbird, and even the score to The Shoot, as John Wayne's last
Mm.
movie.
I don't think I could recall the shootist or To Kill a Mockingbird off the top of my head, but oh boy, do I like hear that pattern with like the trumpets and everything. It just like pops right in there. And then Magnificent Seven, just like there's so many great Western scores out there. And especially in that era, there was so many rousing ones. That one is such a fun time. Every time that comes on, I just feel triumphant. It's like I'm ready to take on a whole entire group of bandits, save a small town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Elmer Bernstein was such a master, and also Ennio Morricone as well. Not just for the Man with No Name trilogy, but just so many other great movies. The Mission, Days of
Oh,
Heaven, The Untouchables. It just goes on and on. Even a couple movies that Tarantino did.
yeah, with the I don't know how many people know the film The Mission, but my God, that score is so beautiful. And then
Yes.
I was just rewatching The Untouchables this past week, and boy, what a score! So great. And
Yeah, the Untouchables will always hold a special place in my heart, being that it was the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
oh, there you go. That is a special one. I think my first film was Air Force One. Get off my plane.
Yeah, Air Force One was really good. I have to go back and watch that one again.
But yeah, Tarantino's a big fan of Morricone, and when he got to do the Hateful Eight, like actual score, that was pretty awesome. And Tarantino utilized pieces of his score. I remember him utilizing one particular piece in Inglorious Bastards. I'm pretty sure he used some in Django Unchained as well.
Hmm.
Now, Griff, I always love asking this question because we love movies and stuff like that, but sometimes certain things just get on our nerves. And my last question for you is, what's one thing that you wish movies would stop doing?
Actually, this was something you mentioned earlier, Shane. Don't reveal too much in the trailer.
I don't need a 4-minute trailer of your movie that tells me the whole entire movie.
And not even a 4 minute trailer, but they have, not just the teaser trailer, but then they make two or three trailers after that. They were right when they did the trailers for Star Wars The Force Awakens, when they only made just the two trailers and
Yeah.
then that was it.
Yeah, and that first trailer didn't really give away much at all. Cause like I remember it's like there's been an awakening. And just like Finn's head popping up in the middle of the desert. And then of course, Chewie, we're home. And
Yeah,
it's just
that,
like
that
that's
got
all
a
you
lot of
needed.
cheers.
Like that's it. It's all we needed. And like a perfect example recently was that new like it's like here's the thing. Most rom-coms aren't going to surprise you, but like why did they need to give away literally the whole entire plot of Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts in the trailer? I'm like they even showed like the part where like their daughter gets mad at them, but then they're okay again at the wedding at the end. It's just like why do you need to show all this? Why do I even need to watch the movie? So it's one of those kinds of things. And the reason I mentioned the 4-minute trailer is every single Fast and Furious movie that comes out has a 4-minute trailer that shows every single set piece in the
Mhm.
movie. I remember the Hobbs and Shaw trailer. I'm like, I know beat for beat, like this whole entire movie. Why do I need to know that going in? It has The Rock in it. It has Jason Statham in it. They're fighting Idris Elba, who's apparently like the Black Superman. That's all we need. You sold me on that. I don't need anything else.
Even with some old movies, they reveal too much in the trailer. Like if you've seen the trailer for Get Carter with Michael Caine from 1971, they revealed a lot in that trailer.
It's so interesting. It's just like, and for like us who like love movies, we don't need all that. But for
No,
some reason, a lot of people apparently need a movie spelled out for them to even consider seeing it. I'm like, I don't know about you. I like being surprised,
me
but
too.
maybe not everybody does. And then the worst feeling is, oh, I was in a theater when the last Nope trailer came out, Jordan Peele's latest film. I
Right.
closed my eyes because I'm like, I know they're going to give away a bunch of crap that I don't want to know about. So
Hmm.
I'm not even going to look at the screen. And that's always a challenge. But I agree. Marketing people, stop giving away the whole movies. But, Griff, I always like to wrap things up on my show by letting my guests ask me a question. So, what's a question you'd like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Shane, if you were to star in your own movie, what genre would it be and why?
Ooh. So, I've done some dabbling into some screenplays myself. I feel like it would be an action movie, and I would probably be like a more old school kind of action character, like a Mad Max or
Hmm.
something like that. Um, I don't like envision myself being like somebody from like a Fast and Furious type movie, but like an old school action hero or anti-hero. That would be pretty cool too. So I've always been a huge fan of action movies, and I feel like there's a lot of craziness that you can do with it and challenge yourself. And Tom Cruise does it all the time. Somehow he's not dead. So he just keeps doing all of his own stunts. So I appreciate that question. I think it would probably be something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, speaking of Tom Cruise, I'm really looking forward to the next Mission Impossible movie, seeing which direction that'll go in because I thought Fallout was amazing.
Yeah. Fallout, I would say, is one of the best action movies of the 20th, 21st century. Like
Hmm.
that's up there for me with like the John Wick movies, Mad Max Fury Road, like the Raid, stuff like that. That just
Hmm.
Mission Impossible just keeps getting better. So I'm really hoping that trajectory keeps going. I know. Speaking of trailers, they don't really give away a whole lot in that first Dead Reckoning trailer, which is perfectly fine. All I need is a slow tease of the Mission Impossible theme coming in, some sprinkling of who's in it, and I'm ready to watch Tom Cruise ride a motorcycle off the top of a mountain
Hmm.
and then throw a train off a cliff. So I'm ready. So I appreciate that. But Griff, this is fun as always.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure you'll be back on again for a third round at some point. So always looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely, Shane. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I purposefully was trying to go back and see who's been on my show before but hasn't been on a while. And then I realized that a whole bunch of people hadn't been on in like a year. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to ask them. And Griff is awesome. And he came on to chat some movies. And hopefully you all had a fun time with this. And Griff, thank you as always for coming on.
Yes, thank you again, Shane. I really appreciate it.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.